Nothing here. Nothing.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, she did go up there. That's right. That's hilarious. I laughed.
Well, it's doing good.
For you. I don't know. He just hit me. Just now. You guys can duke it out. Duke it out. That's true. I'll take some of it. I'll take my glasses off just for that. I don't do that, do I? We got 1 minute.
Because I haven't.
You said that before, right?
Okay, so someone right there can say,
Yes. I
I'll
think.
chime in and Brock can
What?
No, I didn't get booed.
I got booted. All right, I'm gonna go out to city track meet.
There you go.
So yeah,
Booted.
I was like,
All right, here we go. I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, April 30th, 2024 to order. If you will all rise and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll.
Alderman Redpath. Here. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase. Here. Alderwoman Notariano. Here. Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donilon.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Chair Donilon, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we get started this evening, if you will, on behalf of Mayor Busher, who asked me to do this, and I absolutely agree, please join me in a moment of silence in honor of Keon Day. Thank you very much. Again, welcome everybody. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the committee meetings from the last committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. There is no presentation this evening. Ordinances and resolutions tabled are remaining in committee. There is two, and that is agenda items number 2024-089 and 2024-120. Madam Clerk, ordinances for committee consideration. CWLP.
2024-127, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of new relays for various substations from Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $202,521.02 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-128, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in an amount not to exceed $117,656.65 for a vacuum excavator from Vermeer Midwest for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent. Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Public Works.
2024-129, an ordinance accepting the low bid and authorizing the execution of contract number PW 240294 with Lincoln Land Concrete Incorporated and Capital Ready Mix Incorporated to purchase ready mix concrete and related materials for an amount not to exceed $325,000 for the Office of Public Works and City Water, Light, and Power.
Second.
Motion for consent made by Alderman from Ward 7. Who was the second?
Ward 4.
Ward 4, Mr. Rockford, thank you very much. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. General City Business.
2024-130, an ordinance authorizing payment of $20,000 for settlement of Central District of Illinois Court Case 20-L-160, Mary Williams versus City of Springfield and Michael Vogel.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-131, an ordinance to increase the number of Class E liquor license by one for TSLZ Entertainment, LLC, doing business as Stardust Pizza and Gaming located at 2025 South MacArthur Boulevard, Unit B.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-132, an ordinance approving the appointment of Tracy L. Deal to the Springfield Community Relations Commission.
Move for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Alderman Gregory.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we're moving in and out of our commissions, can we just get an update of where we're at and the new ones, the new commissioners on each one of our commissions, please?
There he is. I couldn't find him. Yes.
Thank you.
Chief of Staff said yes. Anything else, Mr. Gregory?
No.
Any further discussion?
Chair, is
Alderwoman Conley.
is Ms. Deal here tonight? Okay.
Anything further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-133, an ordinance appointing Joshua Banks to the Deferred Compensation Committee.
Move for debate.
Second.
I heard debate by Alderman Redpath,
Sorry, debate.
Yeah, second.
seconded by Alderwoman Conley. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is Mr. Banks here? I don't see him. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
2024-134, an ordinance accepting proposal HR 24-35 for Employee Assistance Program EAP services with Memorial Choice Health Providers in an amount not to exceed $502.63 for a 4-year contract for the Office of Human
Move
Resources.
for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Chair. Can we have someone come up and just kind of give a brief summary of the services that will be offered through Memorial with this contract? That would be, oh, lovely.
There will be 6 counseling sessions that are available for each employee. So it's 6 sessions per issue per employee. There are also 6 behavioral counseling sessions, health counseling sessions that are available for each employee. And we have 4 2-hour training sessions that are available for us to offer to all employees. Additionally, we have, for any kind of crisis situation that we have, they'll provide for on-site counseling. They have a number of other resources and learning that's available on their site that helps give guidance for things like elder care, will preparation, so that people can get some of those resources as well. They're also all local counselors, and so the other benefit is that they are in network within our insurance. So that's also one of those pieces that I don't know that they advertise, but certainly was part of our selection.
And is there a copay for these counseling sessions?
No, with the EAP, those are free services that are provided to the employees. And so one of the other pieces, because they also get to wear the hat of health insurance, is that mental health expenses are about 8% of our last year's budget, and they are increasing at a rate of about 27%. And so one of the recommendations to manage driving costs was to promote our EAP as well as try to steer people towards in-network. So this will do both of those pieces.
Well, I just want to thank you for bringing this contract. I really love that it's a local.
Me too.
Local provider. Those are some really strong benefits that are being offered to employees. And I think it's going to be a real asset to our employees. And I wish you all the best in promoting it. That was kind of why I wanted you to come up and talk about this, because it really is an asset. And I mean, people are dealing with stress and
Yes.
all sorts of things with life these days. And this is really a great benefit that I hope will strengthen our employees and make us also, again, a more inviting workplace, and maybe encourage more people to come and apply and work for the state, or the city. Sorry. Oop. Wrong hat.
We knew where we wanted them.
Work in this state of better mental
In the
health.
city of Springfield, in the
Yes.
state of Illinois.
Yes, but no, thank you very
Yeah,
much. I think
thank
this is
you.
this is a really great improvement. And again, if any support getting the word out to employees, I know you have a great avenue, but we'd certainly like to make sure that everyone knows that this is available to them.
I would welcome everyone championing, because as we have discussed, mental health has become very critical for everyone, and we reflect that everyone. And so the more ambassadors we have to say, here's services, and they're available to you, I would welcome all of that assistance.
Well, and I think mental health is just part of health.
It is.
It is just taking care of your overall health, and I appreciate we normalize this, we make it something that's just part of regular checkups that should be part of everyone's day, and so thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-135, an ordinance amending ordinance 109-03-21, removing the requirement of 5% escrow to the city of Springfield for owner-occupied residence for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Yes, I would like to introduce an amendment.
Okay,
Move to approve proposed amendment number 1.
motion and a second to adopt amendment number 1. Mr. Gregory, you want to explain, or Mr. Corporation Counsel, you want to explain?
Sure. So this amendment is being put forth by Alderman Gregory. What this does is, in addition to removing the escrow requirement for 5% for residential cannabis projects, this would eliminate the 5% match for owner-occupied residences, and it would eliminate the 10% match for minority-owned businesses in our cannabis grant program.
Any discussion? Alderman Gregory.
Yes, and you know, just for my council's knowledge, what brought this on is, you know, I have been inquiring sometime, as well as Alderman Williams and others on the council, on when we would deliver February 2023's cannabis grants. You know, we've been past July of 2023 cannabis grants. We just passed February 2024 cannabis grants, and we're going to be up on July 2024. People have been waiting a long time. The little spots that they was going to use this funding for go away, lose money, go get jobs, and, you know, lose the faith in business or this grant particular. So my inquiry was to our director on when we will release these grants. And she said, I have an ordinance coming to fix the match requirements, because we're having trouble with that, and people are having trouble with the deposit and things. Well, this particular ordinance affects the housing portion. The housing portion, I could probably bet without looking on it, has 7 to 14 on it, and the list could keep going and going. Every last one of our housing has a long list of people, because we don't have the contractors. Well, we'll see. We don't have the contractors to do the work. So people are holding and holding and holding. Just recently, I dealt with a young lady. She paid a contractor $2,500. He played her. She had to go get another $2,500. Nobody's in my community real rich or have a lot of money. So that was hard for her. But she did it again. Other people can't find contractors, have to spend the money and stuff like that. So I'm in total agreement with waiving the match. And this escrow thing was only there because that's how we would hold this, whatever deposit that we're asking for people to do. So instead of holding that, we were saying, well, just pay the contractor so they'll have something to pay. Well, they want a little more than the 10% that we're asking for on the business side of it, and more than 5% than we're asking to hold in escrow or then put down, even if we just say you give it to the contractor. They want more than that. So at some times what has been done is, contractors have been paid directly or whatever, they lowered their standards or their requirements to help people get the work done. So for me, I wanted to introduce an amendment that knocked out both of these things so we could get people the funding that they need for the housing. And, we just had a recent discussion and passed the ordinance to do something. The mayor had a fabulous idea and wiring these things directly and, no escrow, no match, and we can just pay the vendors or the contractors directly after they do their work or put down whatever requirement, because one thing to play me or play a citizen, but it's another thing to play with the city. And contractors are going to respect us a lot more and not take our money and run off with it when they know that, we'll be coming after them with all we got from the legal standpoint. So that's what this amendment is for. I keep reading through the requirements that we originally put forward, and nowhere on either one of these does it say, well, 10% match and 5 of it's going to escrow, and then you're going to use the other 5. It was a 10% match. The escrow came into play for whatever reason on the budgeting, and people a little smarter than me wanted to do. So that's what this amendment is for, and hopefully we can speed up delivery of our cannabis grants and this important funding to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Carlson.
Yeah, Chair, and maybe this question is to General Counsel. I'm confused. The original, not the amendment, the original ordinance, were we eliminating the 5% match already, or am I reading that wrong?
No, that should be, we're eliminating the 5% escrow. So there was a 5% match that we would hold in escrow as the project was being completed. That the original ordinance as proposed eliminated the escrow, not the match. No, that's what the that's what the actual ordinance does. I know our fact sheet says that it eliminates the match, the 5% match. We have a revised fact sheet that's going to be with our next agenda that says it's the escrow, but the ordinance in and of itself eliminates the escrow.
So then originally we've been asking for 20 or 30% down payment that these contractors have.
That's right.
And I'll ask Alderman Gregory, under your amendment, we're just going to go from 20, 30% to zero then? No escrow, no match?
If I may respond, Chair?
Please.
No. If we read, the details here. The owner occupied residencies. Money will be used for rehabilitation for owner occupied residences. Maximum amount available is $25,000 per owner occupied. Amount awarded requires a 5% match by the owner for each project. Money awarded for the project, etc. Owner's 5% match will be placed in escrow. So the 5%, the 10% match that we're asking for, we were holding.
It's still going to go to escrow. It's just the match that you're eliminating.
Well, this is eliminating both of those because, in my view, if we're not gonna hold, the whole point of both of these matches was trying to have some, I guess some would see skin in the game as far as how we wanted to do these two grants.
And I agree. That's the reason for my question. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see a little skin in the game as well.
So over time, I would get that in other things maybe, but these are two grants that come from an industry that was meant for this community and the most affected areas. So if we're going to take away the 5% escrow,
right,
we should take away the 5% match because we're still at the same point.
You're taking away both, though.
Correct. Because the 5 and 10% match is where the problems is coming on. Either people can't afford it, or the contractor is asking for more than that. So at times, the city has had to say, you know what, we'll put in the extra. Or that's why we've seen some of the wiggles in there in the illustrious audit, right? Is because we were trying to figure out ways, and I say we because we're the city, and that includes every last one of us that was up here, was trying to find ways to get people the funding, get people the help, take away the barriers. And these two things were a barrier. I'm just as a part of it as anybody else, and when we passed it. So when you look back at it, you say, hey, hindsight's 20/20. That was a bad move. That was a silly move. You know, other grants that we get down, you know, sometimes we have a match from the city side, but most of them come with no match requirement of the organization. So especially on owner-occupied residences and business, is two of our most needed things in our communities. You know, we can go back to Governor Magazine and all of those stats that have been put out there. That's why this funding is going to those two things: income and business and housing, and trying to fix our housing so we don't rank so high as, you know, in those areas. So, you know, it is my belief, and you know, I know everybody will have an opinion on it, and that's fine, but if we truly want to make this thing easy, then these two, I mean, taken away from escrow is their 5%, is their 10% that we're putting in escrow, that we were putting in escrow. I get it. New policy, we don't like that. I'm good with it. I love it. But that's the same match. It's no different. The escrow is the match. It's their money that there was.
But I thought, you know, I appreciate what you're doing. I respect, you know, we've talked about this, but I thought you had just said we're eliminating the match and we're eliminating the escrow. So help me understand what they're putting into the game then if we're eliminating that. What am I missing on that?
Well, no, I mean, they win the grant. I mean, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, on an owner-occupied business, it's a grant. It comes from the cannabis industry and all that. I just went through all of that, but no, we're taking both those away. Or people can't use it. Yeah. And we'll sit and have most of it forever, and that's, you know, we got to look at that. I get it. I'm learning some things. I get skin in the game, but on this particular program that we have, it's not good. It's not helping our community at all. TIF, our TIF, it requires no match state law. We put that in. We enter our own citizens. So we have to look at policies that present barriers, no matter where we're at in our city, and we have to remove them. We have to address them. It hurts us none to not require a match. It does nothing to the city. It hurts us none. It actually brings a little more strength to the process and making sure that people are getting the job done. Contractors are not playing our citizens, and everything is going smoothly. So that's my take.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. So if Chair, with your leave, I'd like to kind of just ask the sponsor some questions.
Please.
Thank you. Okay, so Alderman Gregory, I guess, did you look at the concept of like a sliding scale? Because not all businesses and I mean, not everyone's would meet like a low income threshold. I guess my concern with this, and I come from a land of all the grants that I deal with have matches. And so, but I also understand like having a sliding scale in there, so, you know, you meet certain income criteria and then maybe there's no match. But if you don't meet that criteria, you know, your business is doing well, or you want to use this to add on to. I guess I don't understand I would like to, I understand where you're coming with this, and I appreciate that energy, and I appreciate where you're coming with this. I really do. I guess my caution is just to completely eliminate it without sort of looking at a scale to have an income-based criteria for being able to have all of this waived. I'd be more comfortable with that, so we make sure that people who can afford to have some skin in the game, because what that does for us as a city and what it does for the program itself is, let's say someone wants $100,000, they have a $110,000 business project. They put in, you know, 10,000, 11,000, whatever, 10%. That leaves more money in the fund to then give to other projects, right? So would you consider, like, maybe if we hold this until next week and kind of work with, and consider putting in some sort of a sliding scale for income? I haven't talked to anyone about this. I didn't hear from you about this amendment, so that's why I'm bringing this up now.
Oh, no, I respect that totally. I don't want to hold it. I'm willing to go debate, but I'll say this. I wish to goodness that there was a rich company, a rich business that was trying to do business on the east side, especially Ward 2. I wish it was. We had 69 applications the first time, Alderwoman. 16 the second time. If we went through all of them, none of those businesses, go back and look at them, none of those businesses or the people are anybody that we was like, oh, they're rich and they don't need $100,000. In fact, it is. That's why it says up to $100,000, because our department it is on them to vet the project and see if they really need $100,000 or can we make good progress with $50,000 and try to stretch this thing. That's why we seen 22 of them, right? We had a choice. We can do 6 for 100 or we can do 22 and try to mix and mingle this thing and make it work for everyone, as many as people as possible. So if I seen evidence of that in our community, especially this one here, I don't, you know, he's off Dirks and maybe it might be a couple, but it's not happening. It's not going to happen until we continue to doing what we're doing, investing in our community. The people who live there starting to open up business. The people who live their homes start looking nice. These houses that Silas, you know, Reverend Johnson got, starting to change our community, and then people are going to start feeling good. And whatever business that want to expand from the west to the east will feel comfortable with it, right? And this important program is starting to help us. And you know, I just feel like, you know, if we're going to take away the escrow, the match needs to go too, because that is what was going in escrow, is their match.
Right. So it wasn't a 10% going, like for the homeowners, it wasn't 10% going in.
Right.
It was that 5% was just being held as an escrow.
No, the whole 10%. Like we was.
Well, no, for business, for a rental, residential property. Sorry, I'm tired tonight.
You know, it's all good. I'm tired too. I've been cutting grass all day. But both of them, you know, the 10% and the 5%, and you know, some came with the 10%. They were able. Drake Commercial Cleaning, guess what? You know, they turned in every invoice. They paid out the money first, waited for their money back. Some couldn't do that, so they got a little money up front. Some didn't handle business. Many did. So, you know, with this, you know, and seeing what we're going through, even to this day with people. I'm dealing with a lady right now, got a roof, hole in the roof and all this craziness, can't find a contractor. We told her it would be a contractor coming out. It's April. I mean, it's just a lot with many of our programs, and I'm just trying to remove the barriers. And I agree with the escrow thing. I love that, paying people, wiring them, being in the 21st century. I think that's a good thing. But if we're going to take away the escrow, the match should go as well. I get that.
And I apologize. I don't quite get that. And I don't. So are you saying you think that if contractors know that a project has 100%, or at least I mean, and it wouldn't be. I mean, let's.
Well, I was just more so saying.
Hang on, let me just, because I want to make sure I'm doing the dollar amounts right. But like the owner occupied, so if someone's doing a $10,000 project and they know that all of that money is coming from the city, you think even though the city would otherwise be matching that money?
No, I don't think I know. What I'm telling you is.
Those contractors would, I mean, I guess.
No, what's happening?
Well, wait, because you're not proposing to change this from reimbursement, right? I mean, this is not money up front to do home projects, it's reimbursement?
No, and neither one of these am I saying that, oh, they win the award and we're going to hand them a $100,000 check or a $50,000 check. I'm saying is when they get the bid from the contractor and they say, oh, I want, you know, on this $25,000 project, I want $2,500, that rather than the resident trying to trip over themselves and do whatever to get this $25,000 or $2,500 and run the risk of this contractor, whoever this guy is, running off with their money, we pay them directly as you know, our new policy seems to be more of a wire, or however we're going to do that portion of it. And if they do run off with our $2,500, then Murdoch, you know, going to handle that. But I just think it puts a safer thing in it. And in the end, if I won this grant, the city would ask me for a 10% down. I would have to give that 10%. We was holding one lady. It was like $500 on $5,000.
I guess I don't understand. So you're saying, are we, and maybe someone from OpEd or legal can clarify this, is this not a reimbursement program, or is it a reimbursement program? Because that's what I'm not understanding. If it's a reimbursement program and they run away with someone's $2,500, that's still not the city's money, right?
So we operate it currently as a reimbursement grant.
For residential and businesses.
Correct.
Okay, so I guess, and I'm sorry, Sean, or sorry,
It's all
Alderman.
good.
Alderman.
It's all good.
I don't understand how taking out a match makes contractors, because it's not city money. If it's still reimbursement, there's still,
Well, I'm just more so saying that the match is hindering folks from executing the grant. And even when they do execute he wants $3,000, I only got $1,500. You know, at times, we were having to help out with that other $1,500.
Okay.
And this is what this is all about. Some of the contractors are asking for 20 and 30% more than what our matches is anyway. And in order to pay for this, you know, it seems like, I mean, if we're gonna bring an ordinance like this, it seems like we are willing to pay the 20% that the contractor is asking for to them directly. And then when they get done with the work, they will get the rest of their money.
okay.
The same is the only thing that's changing with all of this is now we're not asking people to come out of their pockets for it. We're saying find a contractor. They're going to give you a bid on it, tell you what's down, submit the invoice for the down payment. We're going to pay that. When the work's done, and we'll come send our inspectors and do all that good stuff, then we'll pay them the rest.
Okay,
It's
so
the
you're
same
saying
process.
It would be a two-tiered payment process then. They'd be paying,
It's
first they'd be paying, the grant would cover the down payment to the contractor. But if the contractor's asking for 20% and we're only asking him to put in 5, we'd still be covering 15% of that, right?
At times, yes. So that's why this came about. You know, I think it's a great idea to take away the escrow, but the match and the escrow are together. I mean, even on our rules, if you look, there's nothing about escrow. That came in later as a fundamental practice thing that
I guess,
the administration don't like.
and I appreciate that. I'm not entirely certain. I think that I'm not entirely certain I follow exactly how this will work with the contract. I mean, I see kind of where you're going with this. I would prefer there was some sort of a sliding scale in here. And I know, I understand where you come with that, but I also think that there may be businesses and I can think of some. Anyway, I would prefer some sort of a sliding scale. And if it means the sliding scale just ends up with everyone paying 0, then so be it. That's the program. And that makes a better case for this too. But no, thank you for explaining. Yeah. Thank you, Alderman. That's my question, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Natriano.
Is someone from OPED here to speak to this program?
On the hot seat.
Here we go.
Hi, Kayla. So, do you have like a brief overview, or would you prefer if I asked you a question?
Yeah, so what's on the ordinance tonight is for owner-occupied, so the resident side of it. So we noted that the escrow wasn't required for the business side, and in the ordinance, it was required for the owner-occupied side. So we decided that to be impaired, to remove the escrow portion of that.
Okay, and that is, okay, so people still have to put money down?
You would still require the 5% match.
Okay, sure. And is this a grant or?
Yes, so it is funded through the cannabis tax, so it is a grant.
Okay. think that makes sense. So are you seeing that folks are having trouble coming up with the 5%?
So I also facilitate the TIF funding for the owner-occupied residents too. We do see that is a problem to escrow inside because some contractors are requiring either 20 or 30% for them to put down, and then we're asking for that, their match to be put in escrow. In addition, some contractors will be asking for them to pay for materials as well. But one thing I want to note that we pay, this would go to the homeowner. It doesn't go to the contractor.
Okay. I don't have a lot of experience working with contractors directly in my personal life, but I find it odd that contractors are asking for money up front, and I find it unsettling that contractors are asking for folks to buy materials.
I'm gonna answer her on that one.
Happens to me a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a contractor, but.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I posed that at you, didn't I? Yeah, no, I just, yeah, if I was going to undertake some work, I would not feel comfortable giving a company some money before they've done any of the work. So that's something I would just like to flag on this. And yeah, I think if we're finding that putting down money is a barrier, then to me, it lends support to the idea that Alderman Gregory is proposing, that we eliminate the 5%. How would that impact your office?
Eliminate the 5% escrow, or are you talking about the 5% match?
Match. Mm-hmm.
I would have to talk to Director Yazel about that before I can report back.
Sure. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I like the idea, Alderman Gregory. I understand that, you know, not everybody has 5 or 10% of the project costs lying around. And I would hate for that to be a barrier for people accessing this money that they really need. And thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Just a brief question, if you could, Kayla, while you're here. So the way the program works presently, let's forget about the escrow for a minute, okay? Someone has a project at their house and they apply for the grant. Let's just make up a number. It's $100,000, $50,000. Yeah. And they do not, no check is written by the city until the work is done and the invoices are submitted, and then we reimburse the individual. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so if the amendment passes that eliminates this, in other words, well, let me back up. Under the present rules, we would only reimburse up to 95%.
Correct.
Okay, is that right?
And then we would reimburse them their, if they've, yes, that is correct. So then they'd also get their escrow back as well, as
Right.
long as they've paid above that.
I understand that. So the amendment, the difference is that the individual has to pay for all the work to be done, and then they get reimbursed 100%.
Yeah, then they'd
Under
be
the
able to.
amendment.
Correct. So then they'd be able to prove that they've paid their 5% to the contractor. So the contractor would then give them a receipt stating that they've paid X amount. And then they'd also have to submit a cleared check front and back saying that
So
they.
to Alderman Carlson's point, that would be the difference. There's no skin in the game for the actual owner of the property,
If they were to.
if the amendment passes.
No, if we keep the amendment as of, are you talking about which
Talking
amendment?
about the Alderman Gregory's amendment.
Yes, so there, yeah, you're correct.
I just want to make sure,
Yep.
a lot's been thrown at us this evening, moving back and forth. Appreciate the discussion. Alderman Hanauer.
Thank you. I'm good.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, Kayla, don't go nowhere.
Couple things I was thinking of. I agree with getting rid of the escrow. I'm not really keen on that. I'm not sure about the 5%. I do share your concern about bad contractors. This is where I think what we need to do. I think that this is an ongoing program. I don't know if we could get our contract, our licensing and do an RFP to get a list of contractors that are willing to do the work. I'm not too sure it wouldn't be a bad idea if you, let's say this year you say, we're going to do roofs, and we're going to do as many roofs as possible, and you get a list of contractors for roofers. And then we know when people apply, say, I want a new roof, my roof's bad, and they would have to qualify. We'd have to have somebody say, yeah, you definitely need a new roof. But then they know that if they give them, and we can put in our contract that this is, they give you 5%, and, you know, they're certified by the city, they're not going to run off. And if they do, then we're going after them. I think that's the best way to go with this. You have a list of contractors, and those are the only contractors you can use on this particular program. And if they use someone else, they don't get the money, period. I think that by doing that, they're guaranteed, they still have a stake in the game. They know that they've got a good, reliable contractor that the city's vetted, and I think it's a win for everyone. But I do think it would be good to, you know, limit it to, okay, we got a lot of bad roofs. Let's get a lot of these roofs done. That'll fix a lot of problems right away. Instead of someone wants a new kitchen or whatever, I don't know what they do, but at least you get the roof fixed, you fix a lot of problems that could happen, you know, further down the road. And a lot of people can't do a roof and do you know, work inside anyway. But I just think we need to look into getting a list of contractors that we certify that are going to work in this program, and then they know that they've got a good, reliable contractor instead of a fly-by-night company that comes in and takes their money. So.
Anything further, Alderman Hanauer?
No.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. So it's a couple things to address. So I want to go to Alderwoman Nutriano. Being in the business of doing real estate and properties and just different projects, you have to have some type of down payment down and buying materials, but that should not be on the actual homeowner or on the business owner to buy the materials. That should be within the entity that's performing the job. That's typically how it goes. So I think just a little bit of education moment. Nobody is going to start work without getting a deposit down, because sometimes take that hat off and put the hat on of the contractor. Am I going to really get paid too after I'm done doing the work? So that's on the flip side for a person who's actually performing the work. Yeah, you're right about that, but I just wanted to make sure my eyebrows and antennas went up when you had said that part. And then moving over to Alderwoman Conley, you guys know I'm passionate about housing and do this type of work. When you asked about Alderman Gregory removing that, there is some barriers on the east side of town where people just don't have the money, even in Enos Park. And Kayla, that's where you can come on back up, because I wanted to ask you some questions to compare to that. In Enos Park, there were a few of my constituents that weren't able to pay their percentage down, but guess what? The banks were okay with it because they knew the money was coming from the city to pay them. So they knew they were going to get their money back, so they were able to afford to give them the loan, knowing that the city was going to pay a percentage of that back. So I think that's where the skin in the game comes from. Now, I think Alderman Gregory, I like Alderwoman Conley's point to the fact of did you call it a slide scale?
Sliding scale, something like that, yeah.
A sliding scale for those who can afford to do just a little bit of income, Alderman Gregory. Just a little bit of, they have a little bit of income that can bring that forward, but for those who don't qualify at all, we should not be charging them anything. And if we have documentation put in place, people respect, we're the city of Springfield, we're gonna pay them. if they know that money is coming to them and they have to, and our inspectors have to go out, I think that's where the skin in the game is. And now we have a good balance and we have quality control. Then I wanted to circle back around to, I know I'm jumping all over the place, Chair, but I'm listening too. I wanted to circle back around to Director Posey, because I know he said that we had a list of contractors. And so that's targeting on Alderman Hanauer's point of having a list of contractors to be able to do the work right now. So I think we got a couple things. I know I hit every point, but I think we got a couple things that we can have in place and tweak this a little bit. But I do like what Alderwoman Conley said. If people got the funds to do it, there's no problem with having them put those funds forward. And I just wanted to put it out there, dealing with banks and dealing with properties that I have. The banks will give the money when they know that the city of Springfield is also paying. So all we need is a letter to give to the bank to show them that this person has been approved. This is the amount that we can pay for it, especially when it comes to our TIF over in Enos Park. That's what worked really well. And so I know Director Posey is here and probably could answer the question to the contractors. And I didn't know, Kayla, if you had any research from what I was saying with Enos Park and how that worked too.
That was before my time here, but I will look at the files.
That's good. You cool. I understand.
Alderwoman, if I can, Alderman Gregory, there's been I think, a very good discussion this evening about the amendment itself and some new ideas. Would it be possible just to entertain, I don't want to say hold amendment, but hold the amendment, move the ordinance on debate, and seeing if you could work it out with Corporation Counsel with some of these ideas, and
absolutely.
we're cognizant of the Open Meetings Act, obviously, but.
I have every intention on putting it on debate and having some discussion. And, just briefly since I'm talking, but the only reason that this amendment is here is because my original question to the director was about our cannabis grants, the business grants. The housing grants, even when we remove the 5% escrow, we got a line out the door. For those. So it ain't going to speed that up no faster. But this business section of it, we really, really need to get out, so we can award those, get to these next application periods, et cetera, and just, get that program back moving. And that was the only reason this particular amendment is here, not for on the housing one. And, obviously, there was a miscommunication between me and the director, but I didn't want to keep going back and forth with her. The important thing right now, we have a lot of housing different programs, so now that's all good. But this business one is unique and is helping us grow, and that one needs to be addressed. So thank you.
Alderman, do you still intend on asking for a vote on the amendment, or holding the amendment and working something out with your colleagues, or?
Oh, no, I just put it on debate, and, I'll hold the amendment, and we'll.
And I'll co-sponsor with him and help through that process as well, if that's okay with you, Alderman Gregory.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the amendment's been withdrawn. I think as Alderman, I just want to be clear for the record, that you've withdrawn the amendment. However, Mr. Posey, I think, wants to address Alderwoman Purchase's comments, if that's okay.
Good Chair.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, in our office, we have a list of minority and female-owned businesses that are subcontractors, and we can get that to you. I can work with purchasing agent Lesko to put together a list of possible contractors who would be interested in doing this kind of work. Now, I don't have enough working knowledge of escrow and matches. That's not my department. But from a community standpoint, and Alderman Gregory can correct me if I'm wrong, especially on the east side, with these owner-occupied properties, the people who are getting this cannabis grant money a lot of times don't have the money to put down up front to make these improvements that are needed on their house and still pay their bills, pay their rent, put food on the table. And that's not necessarily a disparity that we see everywhere in Springfield. I understand Alderwoman Conley's point about the sliding scale, but again, it's not my field of expertise on whether match or no match or sliding scale or no sliding scale, but my office is on South Grand. I drive down South Grand and through Southtown every day. Residents come to my office. I've gone and met with them at their homes if they can't make it out. There are a lot of issues that I believe the cannabis grant is meant to address in those lower income areas and areas that are heavily affected by gun violence, which we're seeing now, or drugs, and disproportionately affected communities. And so we are seeing with residents, hey, I applied for this grant, I got this grant, But the way my banking and my money is set up, as folks would say, I can't pay my rent and feed my children or feed my grandchildren and also put down this 5% to be held in escrow to wait and see if this job is going to get done. So again, I don't have enough financial expertise to talk about escrow or match, and it is not my job to vote or make any of those kind of decisions. But from a community standpoint, what Alderman Gregory is saying is true, that is a significant barrier we're seeing, especially to community members of color and people on the east side.
Chair?
Yes.
Just my one response to
Please,
that.
Alderwoman.
So I think too, Director Posey, just getting us a list of those contractors. And another help up is we have a lot of companies who do great work here in Springfield who have pulled numerous permits. So we can be proactive, and I think that you are very good at your job to reach out to them and ask for them to come on to our list that you're creating.
Absolutely.
And we already know their business. We know what they do. They are in compliance with us. They call for inspections all the time, but we do want to beef up that minority side of it too. So,
Absolutely, and I also think that's something my office can work on along with the purchasing office and the Office of Planning and Economic Development, so that way we're all, on the same page and we can give you the best information and the best list possible.
thank you.
Thank you, Director. Alderman Redpath.
You guys already hit it. I'm done.
Alderwoman Conley.
I'm sorry, Kayla, I have a quick clarifying question. And Alderman Purchase brought up a good point. Do we issue an award letter that can be taken to a bank to homeowners and business owners in this cannabis program?
So they will get an agreement. So
Okay.
just like, how you
Like
see
any
a tip.
standard, so they get that before any question of money, although except for this escrow, which is, I agree, really complicated. So they get an award letter that says the city is committing this much.
It's agreement. So it's everything laid down there, what the rules and obligations are, so it could then in turn be used to go to the bank.
Okay, thank you. Because Alderman Purchase, that was a really good point.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Before we get to the ordinance in hand, I just want to thank the mayor and their staff for submitting this ordinance to eliminate the escrow. And Alderman Gregory, you and I have had many conversations about all of our passions and on addressing issues with, in particular, residential structures that are having problems. People can't afford to fix them, and we're talking about roofs and siding and really just basic things, but things that are extremely needy in this community. So I trust we'll get there, folks. Thanks, everybody, for the conversation. To the ordinance in hand, as not as amended, but the ordinance agenda item number 2024-135. Is there a motion?
Motion for debate.
Motion for debate. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
2024-136, an ordinance approving the renewal of a site lease agreement with Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless for the property located at 2925 South Koke Mill Road, Springfield, Illinois, for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
2024-137, an ordinance authorizing payment in the amount of $32,160 to Derek Simon, a former Springfield police officer, for settlement of a workers' compensation claim for case number 23-WC-003074.
Motion
for
for
consent.
consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-138, an ordinance authorizing payment to Axon Enterprise Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $136,622.20 in order to obtain the Axon Evidence Unlimited third-party storage for the Springfield Police Department.
Motion for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion for agenda item number 2024-138? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-139, an ordinance authorizing payment to Tyler Technologies in the amount of $71,996.41 for the annual maintenance fee for e-crash, e-citation reporting systems for the Springfield Police Department.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
2024-140, an ordinance authorizing payment to Halls Harley-Davidson in an amount not to exceed $70,647.90 for the purchase of 2 Harley-Davidson FLHTP motorcycles outfitted with the police package to be utilized in the Springfield Police Department motor unit for the Springfield Police Department.
Motion for debate?
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Come on up, Chief Scarlett.
Chief, welcome to the podium this evening.
Get his steps in today. So, Chief Scarlett, I don't have an issue with us getting a Harley Davidson bike, but I'm a little concerned. I know that a few of our officers was just recently in a bad car accident, and just imagining if they were on these motorcycles, what the outcomes would have been, and just wanted you to explain a little bit of what the motorcycles would specifically be doing.
Absolutely. Well, let me start by saying, anytime somebody puts this uniform on, they accept the liability that comes with the job, whether that's on walking patrol, riding in a squad car, potentially riding on a motorcycle, being a part of our SWAT team that goes and busts down doors, whatever the case may be, that comes with the job, right? That's part of it. And really what it boils down to is the professional training that we provide, the state-of-the-art equipment that we provide. Those two things are key, as well as department policy. Staying within our policy. So when it comes to the motorcycle unit, these are going to be used for a handful of things. Number one, traffic enforcement. If there's one thing that I've heard from everybody up here,
Parking tickets.
it's traffic, 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 traffic. And that's why I specifically mentioned this in our budget presentation earlier this year, that we wanted to implement a motor unit, was to address some of the high accident intersections that are difficult to get our squad cars in, where these would be more efficient and more effective. Number two, this is a great PR tool. This is a great recruiting tool, something that we can use, whether it be parades, various functions downtown, recruiting events that we have. Again, another thing that I hear all the time is manpower shortages, and if utilizing a motorcycle is one way that we can encourage people to come join our team, then I'm certainly up for that as well.
Would you be open to, I agree with everything you just said, Chief Scarlett, but would you be open to one motorcycle and maybe the other funds being spent on electric bicycles, pedaling? Because as you just stated, we could help our MPOs. They may want to get out their car and ride their bikes to be more engaged in the community downtown, riding their bikes around in that area, since we have streets blocked off and people walking in the middle of the street. Maybe a motorcycle won't be that best to drive through, but bicycles would be okay too. And what
So
do
we
you think
currently
about
have
that?
bicycles.
Okay.
Our department has had bicycles for several years. We haven't necessarily been able to deploy them because of our manpower concerns, but as our neighborhood police officer unit rises to full strength, I could see that unit being utilized downtown again. Just keep in mind that these motorcycles are being purchased with restricted DUIF funds that are specifically for traffic-related details and whatnot. So that's where the money is coming from for these.
Okay, and then can you just say a little bit about, do we have officers that went through the training for it and they've passed their test? And
Yeah, and that's something to consider. Obviously, we all get driver's ed training when we're 15 or 16 years old. Our officers receive about 14 hours of actually driving, vehicular driving training in the academy, driving a squad car, okay? We have 3 officers that are now certified through the Illinois State Police Motorcycle Program. That's an 80-hour rigorous training program. Additionally, they'll have to get certified every spring to ensure that they're capable and competent to ride the bikes. Listen, safety's paramount. If there's one thing I've said time and time again, what keeps me up at night is the safety of my men and women, making sure that they make it home at night. And law enforcement is a dangerous job, and I think that's evident in the fact that 4 individuals were killed in Charlotte. 4 federal and local law enforcement officers were just killed in Charlotte. We have guys on that same task force that operate in our community. We have 26 officers that are on a SWAT team that if I ask them to go break down a door to arrest a dangerous felon, they're going to do that. They understand and they accept the liability and they put their lives on the line. And I would tell you that those that have volunteered for this motor unit will do the same thing.
okay, well, thank you for answering my questions. And since I became an alderman, I've been on you about the bicycles, and now we could do electric bicycles, and I would love to see some of our officers out. They've told me that they would like to ride the bicycles too, so I want you to kind of consider that and keep that in mind, and thank you for clarifying my questions.
I feel like we should make them pedal. I mean, you get a little more exercise when you pedal, right? Nah, that's a joke.
I'm okay with that too, but thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Alderwoman. Thank you, Chief. Okay, the motion on the table is for the debate agenda. Alderman?
Gregory.
So, Chief, is this going to be part of your traffic enforcement? It's going to be in the traffic division now. You're not going to add a different division for this, is it?
No, well, that's correct. It will fall under the traffic division. The officers that have applied for and passed the Illinois State Police exam, we're not pulling them from the streets to go out and run traffic. This will be higher back details. We get we get money from IDOT for step grants for traffic enforcement. That's how these individuals will be paid. It'll be on top of their normal duties.
So, how many people do we have in the traffic unit now?
Currently, we have 1 sergeant and 1 officers and two vacancies.
So these 2 people will be assigned to the traffic division and what's your number going to be? What's your number going to be of how many officers you're going to have in the traffic division?
The goal is to get it to 4 officers and a supervisor.
4 officers and a supervisor?
That's correct. Now, that's all part of that 269 optimal manpower that you all approved as part of the budget, yes.
So they're not permanently, they're assigned, is this an overtime situation?
Those riding the motorcycle, it'll be an overtime situation paid for by step grants through IDOT.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Alderman Redpath?
No.
Alderman Gregory?
Just real quick, and we got all our cars and updated. We don't got none of the old ones. I remember us having CO2 issue worries and all that craziness. We got all them gone.
Absolutely. Our oldest car, I believe, is a 2015 that we currently have.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, that, again, part of my budget presentation is a cyclical vehicle plan, getting to where we're replacing vehicles on a regular basis so we prevent some of those issues that we've had previously.
Sounds good, Chief. Alderman Rockford?
Chief, what's the head count right now?
We're currently at 259 of 269. We're 96% fully staffed. I have 3 laterals that I've interviewed that is also going through the process. We just graduated, I think, 9 from Macon County, and I've got 10 that go over there starting Monday. So we are
Good job.
in really good shape, yes.
Get some more women.
There are 2 that we just hired in this next class, yes.
Thank you.
Anything further, Alderman Rockford? Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Alderman. Okay, the motion on the table is for the debate agenda. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-141, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 50 GTAC S410 G5 mobile computers, including a 3-year warranty, in an amount not to exceed $212,651 from PCN Strategies Incorporated for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Any unfinished business to come before the council this evening, or excuse me, the committee this evening? Hearing none. Any new business to come? Yes, Alderman Gregory.
It could be
Hey.
newer, old.
You gotta press the button.
Well, not necessarily, but go ahead, Keith, Alderwoman.
Did it the old school way tonight.
I was first. So,
Well, I was going to let him go first, but we don't want to
No,
get her
no.
all upset, so.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Alderwoman Purchase.
thank you, Chair. So we are a few weeks away from the Fat Ass 5K. It will
right.
be May 11th, and last year we raised over $100,000. We are encouraging everybody to come out. We have some new surprises this year. I know a few of my colleagues and their wives came out, and we all walked together. I hope to see you all, and it's a great event, and we raise a lot of money for charity. They will continue to put some things out on social media to say who this will be going to, but it's a great event, and we encourage everybody in the city of Springfield to come out and join and get your steps in. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Fine in the 9. Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Chair. It's been when we have these off Tuesdays, I can tell you that it is a heck of a 2 weeks before we get here. But I do want to start off on a positive note and thank Republic, as strange as it is. This young man, I assume he's young, but they were going to do their duties, and for the first time since I've been here, they sent a bad fly dumping situation into our public works director. And I've been out and I've seen them picking up trash. Of course, I get up early, and I've just been noticing that they've been making sure that they got everything cleaned up. Even some things I was surprised that, they're taking. But I do see some effort with them, some changes with them. I would imagine our mayor had a good, strong conversation with them. And I do see effort, so I want to say that, because not only did he send this once, but he sent it twice, and I just seen some, differences. I don't know if he's new or not, but I wanted to say that. Sunday, I got to throw a shout out to our public works crew, Mr. Fuchs and whatever inspector came out on a Sunday. On 8th Street has been on the news and things, and I didn't take any interviews, and just been busy and a lot going on. We just had a moment of silence for a young man in our community, and it's just a lot, man. But this particular building, of course, we've all seen, collapsed. And I thank God that it was a Sunday that it did collapse, because Monday through Friday there would be kids and parents moving in and out of this daycare that's next to it, and it for surely would have fallen upon someone and hurt someone, and this situation would have been a lot worse. I appreciate the speedy action by Public Works, and I know the mayor was involved, and Corporation Council to really take some action on this, and hopefully we can make a quick decision and get it tore down. I believe it's at that status, and we're going to get it tore down. But it just goes back to our overall condition of so many buildings, especially in our older parts, the inner cities, and throughout my community. We really, really, really have to get strong on them and get them handled. And then to see that this guy's an out-of-town owner and all this craziness, it's just troublesome. So, I thank everybody for their hard work, and I'm just thankful that no one was hurt in that situation, because they very well could have been. And, so I just want to speak on that. And, I don't see Director Yeazel here, and I'm not going to put Kayla under this type of pressure, but I will ask Corporation Council, can you talk to me about CAB 1908 and this funding? And my frustration level with just funding on the east side and different projects, I cannot lie, is really at an all-time high, but I'm handling it well. So can you talk to me about CAB 1908 and this funding and this closing on this building that was supposed to be Friday?
Absolutely. So we were notified by HUD. So CAB 1908 received additional federal funds, which go through HUD. Now, HUD has a requirement, I believe it's 24 CFR subpart 50.3 H3. Don't quote me on
Good
that.
memory.
But what it says, and I'm paraphrasing, is if you're receiving these funds, you cannot spend any HUD funds or local funds on the acquisition, repair, construction, or a whole host of other items on the property until you do an environmental review. Now, that's only if the HUD funding comes in on that year. Now, the HUD grant wasn't awarded until, or was awarded after we awarded our TIF, but there's a relate back date for the award that the federal government gave when the new budget was passed. It's going to relate back to March 1st. So any closing done after March 1st of 2024 can't use local funds per HUD guidelines until there's an environmental review done. Right. Now, the city as a service offers to do environmental reviews, and that's about a 2 to 3 month process. Right. We because we're the entity that's a pass-through for the HUD funds, we had a phone call with them at the beginning of this month, where I argued that there were a couple of exceptions that could apply to this case. HUD disagreed with those arguments. It was my office and it was OPED that was a part of this call. They disagreed, and so while we could provide the TIF funds that this council would have approved, HUD was telling us that would jeopardize the $1.6 million grant that was received by CAB 1908. So we had a phone call with their attorney today to explain that. The concern would be if we provided our funds as council directed, they would lose that grant, which would then cause, which would then caused them not to be compliant with the funding that they said that they had for us. So we're trying to work with them to put them in contact with HUD, so HUD could explain that, and so it's not just coming from us, so they can hear the same things that we heard at the beginning of the month. But that is the reason that has not been paid. The closest example that we have at the city level where this happened was Pillsbury. Now that appears externally to be a very different situation, right? We're buying a building for Cap 1908, and Pillsbury, we're tearing it all down. But if you look at the actual regulations that are involved, it's kind of the same catch-all provision that I cited at the beginning. So that's why it's taking a little bit more time. But once the environmental is done, then we can, hopefully, we're going to talk with HUD, make sure we're okay there, and then we can provide the fundings for the closing, and then they can take the $1.6 million to do the additional build-out that they've discussed.
Thank you for that explanation. You know, I've known about this situation for some time. I haven't said nothing. I wanted the process to work. And you know, I would ask for a memo or a letter from HUD about this situation. And you know, just another example of more hurdles that we have to buy. When we first was going through this, whether we was going to use TIF or CBDG, when we was making those situations, our director, she spoke on, and I'm speaking to our council here and those who want to hear me. She talked of this environmental review. So we had knowledge that, oh, you know, this is something that we need to do, and da-da-da. And from my understanding, we provide that service, and, you know, it takes a while, but we never engaged on it. We never were proactive in it. Just 2 weeks ago, Pillsbury, we paid some environmental things, right? $18,000 and $15,000 environmental review, similar to what we're talking about on Cap 1908, $35,000. So, you know, for me, I think that we need to close on these buildings. We got these people waiting. We've done all of this. Our director said nothing to me. We just had to check all this craziness, you know, fun stuff. This is why I don't be smiling into things, because boy, I tell you, until we actually do the work, I never believe it. But we just had a check opening. We all talked. No one said anything. And I knew, but no one said anything. Nothing. Until today, I talked to Dominic again. I said, we get the situation handled. He says, somewhat, you know, and no one said a word to me, anything, because that's something that I would need to know, so I can talk to HUD and our congresswoman to say, hey, this is the problem that we're going through right now, you know, and it just disappoints me, man, because you know, this is an important project for our community. We talk about skin in the game and things of that nature. These are tax-paying businesses. The cannabis people are tax-paying businesses. The homeowner-occupied cannabis program, they pay taxes on their houses. I would think that in the condition that we are in as a city and need to raise our tax profile and generate more funding, that we would do all we can to make projects like this successful. So for me, I know he has a closing for Friday. We approved this ordinance to go through. I would like a memo or a letter stating that, hey, he's going to lose his funding or whatever they're saying. If not, we need to, in my opinion, press forward and get this thing done.
I understand. We did reach out to him in March to let him know what HUD was saying about the environmental review. We did not hear back from him. I can send you what HUD has sent us, myself and OPED, so I'll forward that to you, and I'll put a memo together as well. You know, my concern, I understand council did this, and he can move forward how he wants to, but the risk is on him if he wants to close on this. So I met with his attorney today. I understand your frustration and the hurdles. I share in those. Val is not here, but the conversation we had with HUD was kind of a back and forth, because I wanted to carry out the directions of this council and knew that this conversation would occur. But, you know, there is a big risk there. But I will send you a memo and outline all of this.
All right, and preferably if we could get something from them and whatever their representative is. I know do we have a HUD specialist consultant with the city of Springfield? I know we used to.
Yeah, there's a field officer from HUD who's working on this particular case, who we had our call with, who has sent the emails that I'm referencing here, so I'll include that information.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Williams.
I've been trying to be quiet all night, but, so, you know, when you prepare for closing, it involves so many people and so much expectation, and then we get an unmet expectation, or we get these big surprises that it really can put a damper on a community and how they feel about things. And then it just gives life to everything we work to make people believe in us and believe. We already went through a big ordeal with this project, with us, the city council, you know, trying to get things, and things got worked out. We thought we was good, and here we are again with a whole different. So I just want to know, did the city contact HUD, or did HUD contact the city and say, oh, your congresswoman's giving you some federal funds, but before you do it, do this? Because in the meetings with the congresswoman, in the meetings, it never came up. So, and then on my Pillsbury side, it did come up because of what Pillsbury is and the condition that it was in. It made sense that it came up, and that group that I'm working with over there to do that project, I mean, I could understand why we had to do a whole bunch of environmental studies and work and get all these reports back before we could get started that way. But in this particular situation, it did throw me for a loop as well, and got a lot of people upset, you know. And I'm just trying to understand, as big as HUD is and all that they do, they just decide to pick up the phone and call us and say, oh, before you use any of our money, and we know you gave them the tip, they can't use our money until the environmental piece is done. Or did we contact them?
I would have to direct that to OPED. I wasn't a part of those initial conversations. OPED brought me in after they had been discussing. So I can let you know, but I don't know off the top.
Do you know, Carlo? We need to find that out, because my frustration is slightly like his, but it's a little different in that there's something going on where we constantly keep getting held back, or getting these blockades, whether legit or not legit. I need to know how that communication took place, and I understand you asking for it in writing to see if they indeed did say you will lose that funding. That's key too, because I shouldn't say, the Congresswoman's office definitely hasn't shared any of this kind of stuff with us, so I appreciate any help you can do in that area and get some clarity of how this happened, you know, to hold us up once again. I appreciate you if you could at least do that.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Gregory.
Last point, and I'll add, I apologize, last 2 points. But this is for the acquisition, and he's not moving in on the redevelopment. That was some of the difference as well. So, you know, that's with that piece too. He has to acquire those buildings, and then we could do that environmental review. We definitely don't want to wait 3 months for an environmental review, or 4 months, and then purchase the buildings. You know, we don't want to lose those buildings. So,
unfortunately, HUD guidelines require the environmental review before any acquisition using local funds. I'll include the actual citation and quote it in my memorandum to you, but acquisition is explicitly prohibited.
Say that to me. All right, let me ask one more question. Chief, do you got any good news for me on the 645 grant? Does anybody got any good news for the east side?
Well, he does have good news.
He always got good news.
I know.
The Springfield Police Department was recently assigned a new grants manager, Robin. I can't remember Robin's last name. We've had several good conversations with Robin. The amendment, I believe, has been, all the amendments are in the process of being accepted, and we'll be able to hopefully award those very, very soon.
Do you got a time frame for me?
I don't, just because I wasn't prepared to answer that, so let me see if
But
I
you
can
got-
find out.
But you got, we're flowing. We got
Absolutely.
communication.
I am extremely excited with the correspondence we've had with the new grants manager, much better than previous employees there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Alderman. Citizens' request to address the committee, Madam Clerk.
Alice,
Take her off the list. Take her off the
Next
list.
person that signed up, Madam Clerk.
Robert Frazier,
Good evening.
I'll be the first one to be up, just pour some salt on the wounds. But my report is somewhat similar to what's been talked about here as far as the east side and the community itself is experiencing. But I'm only talking about laundry and linen services for the community, the underserved community that can't seem to afford to be able to have clean clothes to function every day. As of the 28th of April, we were over 60,000 loads for the month of April. We're up close to 20,000 loads from the month of March of laundry. These people are coming from everywhere for help. I'm not sure what the city's position is on the community that needs a lot of assistance. I need you all's help for that. Sean's very aware, and some other people are very aware of what we're doing over there on 801 South Grand East to assist the community to just have basic fundamentals of life, and that's clean clothes is one of them. But I just wanted to, I've made a commitment as an executive director of Clean Slate Advocates to be here on a consistent basis to make the community aware of. I have no other platform other than this, otherwise I would utilize it. To make the community and the government aware of what's going on in real life, real time, with the community and the assistance that they need, especially from the laundry and linen perspective. Virtually nobody other than All-in-One Laundry is funding this project. We currently struggle in many ways every month to meet our commitments now, but somehow they're being done. It is important for us to get some kind of feedback, because we are very much considering maybe eliminating the program because we just can't simply keep up with it. That's a shame for a program that is relatively new, but has been probably one of the most fastest growing, most needed programs that's been in this city for a long time that affects a lot of people. From the comments that I get, that we put on our website, and that I get from meeting some of these customers and these people in the community, is they're so appreciative of the assistance, and it makes them feel much better in many different ways. Children, women, men, and families really need this program. I would hate to see it go away. But without a lot of assistance from the community backing up this program, it's virtually impossible for a small, minority-owned business that has poured a lot of work into this community and brought a lot of different situations that were positive from all over and around the state to support Springfield and the surrounding counties. I hate to be a bearer of bad news on that, but the community does need your help. The community does need us to come out and support whatever they're trying to do. We got a lot of things that are currently happening that people are struggling, and it's real. We got to step out of our comfort zone and reach the masses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Alderman Williams.
Yes. So, you know, I have reviewed pretty much all the city's programs and maybe resources, and it is an uncomfortable situation because this is so different from fixing up a home or helping a business and do this. I'm like, well, how can we help in a program that has been so popular? I'll just say that. Because the need is there. And the more I thought about it, I thought first, well, you know, it's my ward, but maybe I can get Sean to give him a marijuana grant. But as you see, we're all over the place trying to get that program together because the need is a little more pressing now for that, you know, for what you're going through and your type of funding. But I have tried to vet the programs and figure out where you fit in, where this can fit in, where we can get you help. So the only thing I can ask at this point, like, I've been talking to Capital Township because they do stuff that's close to the citizens, you know, dealing with loaning people lawnmowers and paying rent and doing a little more hands-on just to see if maybe they could have some funds through the trustee, you know, through her, if that can happen, and try to find you money through them maybe, or even the county. Does the county have anything? You know, so I'm willing, and I'm just telling you, I'm committed to help finish looking and trying to put things together. As you can see, trying to do things from this level can be very complex, especially when it's something that isn't an easy fit, you know, isn't an easy fit. And I just want you to know you come often, and you said you're going to be coming, and I understand. I don't want you to feel like you come up here, you say these things, and then you just, you know, walk away and no one responds.
Right.
I am trying, and as soon as I run into something that I think, I'm definitely going to do the referral and get the two together and see if we can help you.
Right. Well, just a response to that is, I'm not sure where these silos came and they don't fit into a community. I don't really know where that came from. Who made up these different things that say, hey, we'll help with this and not with that? It's the community we're talking about. It's not. I don't know where the parameters and where does it fit? Does it fit under the health initiative? Does it fit under the home literacy? Where does it fit? There is no fit as far as we've done a lot of things and currently still doing some things from state, federal, local grants. We're putting a lot of work in trying to find these things, but we run into the same things that he's talking about. There is no specific monies out there for what we're actually doing, which is kind of odd. And somehow, some way, I think that we need to, once again, come out of our cocoon and come outside of that box and really kind of find out what's going on in the real world. We're right down the street from one of the highest poverty places in this state. So, and that's real.
Alderman Gregory.
Mr. Frazier, you've been here a few times, and, you know, every time, you know, we let you do your thing, and we really don't speak too much because, you know, we definitely understand. I've talked to you many times, and you know, I be thinking, I just be thinking about everything that people say consistently, which is not good, but, and I really think we have a real opportunity with your program. It's a hard program to sustain, right? It was started when we had the derecho, people need laundry, it was without power. I believe you had a partnership with Springfield Clinic at that time, right? That partnership has gone away, so it's going to be a little tough. But I think that we have a opportunity to work a partnership with our continuum of care, who continues to work to provide housing to unhoused people and people who need help in various manners. I haven't had a chance to really meet with Mr. Sable, but I do think there's some opportunity there because we do run across situations where people need things, including laundry done, that may not have a washer and dryer and things of that nature. I can tell you that the funds that he's referring to is our CBDG funds. That's normally where something like this we would try to look at. But as you heard through this discussion, they're very meticulous or very rigid in their qualifications. And most of the time that funding has to meet a national narrative, incubation, the arts, etc. And so that particular part, even as aggressive as I am, I don't know if that can get put into our 30-day thing and public input and submit to HUD and be approved. However, I do think that there's opportunity there, and I know Mr. Posey and Kayla. I encourage us to look into that avenue for him while we continue to look for some support. I think it's a good program, but if you have to end it because you can't get funding and things of that nature, I don't want your business or you and your wife to feel like you're a failure or nothing like that, or that you let the city down because you tried. And that's all we can do. Nothing beats a fail but a try. We appreciate you as a new business. I want you to continue to be in business. I don't want you to take all your funds and profits and all that and put it out, freely and then have to close down your business. We got too much of that going on. So we're going to do everything we can to try to help you and find a productive avenue to help people in a real way. And we just appreciate you for coming. And I've seen you out in the community and doing your thing at different events. And so we do appreciate you, sir.
Well, one of the things I just want to say that continues to motivate me to come up here and to participate in push programs like what we're doing is the people. There's a lot of people that listen to this program. They might not be here in the crowd, but every day when I leave here and I go home or I'm on the way here, they say they appreciate me standing up for them, even though a lot of them won't stand up for themselves for whatever the reason is, because they don't feel respected or downtrodden or whatever. So I'm not here for myself. I'm here for the people that are utilizing the program, and I wish there was a better way for them to speak for themselves, because from what I understand, the government is for the people, by the people, right? So it's important for us to know what's going on with the people to be able to support them. And if we lose a community because we're not listening, then I guess that's you all's and everybody else's decision.
Alderman Gregory, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Alex Rockford.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Alex Rockford. I am a Ward 3 resident and the Workplace Coordinator for Lawrence Education Center. For those unfamiliar with Lawrence, LEC has provided adult education programming and wraparound services to Springfield and its surrounding communities for over 50 years. In my role, I oversee federal and state-funded grants focused on workforce development and job training for our students. This includes removing any barriers to student success, connecting students to appropriate community resources, providing tuition for various industry-recognized trainings, transitioning students onto college, trade school, or employment, applying for funding, leadership development, financial literacy, entrepreneurial skills development, and a number of workforce readiness activities. For the last 2 years, I've had the pleasure of working in collaboration with the Office of Planning and Economic Development to facilitate the Brighter Futures Collaborative, an R3 service delivery grant focused on youth and economic development in our community. This collaboration expanded additional services, incentives, and career exploration opportunities to 311 students thus far. In 2 years alone, with this funding, students have earned over $75,000 in incentives. 13 students have completed OSHA 10 training and received certification. 4 students are now licensed CNAs, with 7 currently in CNA training. Over 50 students have received their food handler's license and CPR certifications, and more than 60 are now graduates, with more coming in the coming weeks. I am fortunate to see the positive impact programming has on a day-to-day basis and can attest to its need in Springfield. Thank you all for providing these opportunities for our students. I look forward to sharing final numbers at the close of the fiscal and school year. It is with a very heavy heart I share that staff learned last week of the closure of Lawrence Education Center at the end of the current school year. Lawrence Education Center is one of 2 adult education providers in our community, the other being Lincoln Land Community College. In the handouts I've shared, one can see that each program is supporting a different population and both meet different needs in our community. The handouts include data and demographics and performance measures to further demonstrate the reach of these programs. As you can imagine, the news of Lawrence's closure has been devastating for students and staff alike. Over the past few days, students have expressed their sadness, but also their gratitude. Aside from the previous listed services, LEC has been a safe space, a place where students feel seen and believed in, the last chance for some, and an extended family for others. Lawrence Education Center is truly a unique place, and its closure will be a detriment to our community. But I do not stand before you to gripe. I stand before you in hopes that we as a community can find ways to continue to support this already underserved population, to advocate and champion for not only our current students, but all the members of our community who could benefit from services provided at LEC, but who will no longer have that option. To inform you and our community of all the accomplishments and good LEC has done for Springfield that will now cease or fall on other entities to carry on. Although Lawrence is closing its doors, several of our amazing staff members are committed to carrying out its mission and providing tutoring and assistance to those who will be unable to graduate this year, but have worked so incredibly hard and have come so incredibly far. I, along with several of my colleagues, have packed lunches, provided snacks, wiped tears, covered the cost of tests and basic needs, and given countless rides and countless hugs, not because any of this falls within our job descriptions, but because we wholeheartedly believe in our students when it seems as though the rest of the world has given up on them. I invite you to speak with any of our students or community partners in the audience tonight whose lives have been positively impacted and changed by Lawrence Education Center. It is now up to us as a community to continue to pour into this population and ensure they continue to receive support and services once Lawrence closes its doors. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be a part of the LEC family. I am grateful to District 186 and to our community for the opportunity to serve in this capacity and hope we can find a way to come together and continue Lawrence Education Center's mission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Well, I did have.
Alderman Williams.
I did want to ask, did they give a specific reason why the program was ending?
I cannot speak to that. I haven't heard from district administration. I just know we were pulled together as a staff by our building administration and told that after this school year, we will no longer be open.
In any type of form, like going back to the old building or doing anything different?
No. I mean, we can all speculate, but I can't
Okay.
say for certain what the reasoning is. I have heard that the district isn't wanting to compete with Lincoln Land Community College, which is why I provided the data to you, that we are serving, different populations. There isn't much overlap, but.
Well, so my concern is, I know they call it, young adult. Do you have any juveniles?
So if you look at the demographics, we serve 90% ages 16 to 24. The last I checked, Lincoln Land doesn't accept under the age of 18. But I'm sure the district does have a plan in place to retain. So
this is concerning to me because, there's been a murder and there's been the chief knows this, the juveniles are kind of getting out of control. And with this going, I just wonder now what, because the few that go to your program at around that age, 16, 17, 18, 19, what becomes of them? Because they're already there because they're not in the regular school curriculum, and they get put over and then they get a chance. This is their second chance by participating in your program. But if we close that program, I'm just concerned more for those younger populations that you guys serve. The younger, I always understood the adults that go there, the young adults, meaning 20-year-olds and things like that. But I just think we're starting to see an influx of crime and problems out of that age group. So that is definitely concerning to me because it could grow. I mean, I don't know. You know, I imagine they're upset that it's closing, so who knows what'll happen to them. So I appreciate you coming and letting us know. I do think that I know you maybe work for the district, and that becomes very difficult to confront the district or to go and ask or say something to the district. But that question needs to be answered to the public. I'll be asking my school board member, you know, what's going on with that and why is it happening? Because, again, I'll share with her what I'm feeling and seeing happening in the community. You know, right in my ward, right in Sean's ward, there's been a lot of uptick in their young people between, I would say, 16 and 20. So I appreciate you for coming. I'm going to be quiet because I see others have got in now.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Alderman Williams, I'm going to say thank you for saying everything that was on my mind listening to this. Lawrence Adult Education has been around for decades.
Yes.
It really, I'm looking, I mean, maybe there's a slight decrease in numbers, but in 2022, you had over 200 students. How many do you have this year?
We've enrolled over 270 this year.
270 students.
Correct.
I am not gonna repeat what Alderman Williams said. I'm just gonna say absolutely, I agree with every word he said. This is very concerning. Lawrence Adult Education is a critical function, and I know there are other organizations that offer, you know, tutoring and things like that, but those are smaller fixes for something that is a really big problem, and almost 300 students is I will also be reaching out to my school board member. Thank you. I hadn't heard about this yet.
Alderman Rockford.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman
Yeah,
Rockford.
thanks for coming, and all your students. And also, but this day and age when we need avenues for young adults, older adults, you know, that use this facility. And I know there's plans that's going to take place. I'm sure there is, but again, the news is shocking. It's surprising. Going back to the grant process, I know you guys had a deadline to get this grant in. Was that deadline reached, or did you?
So Lawrence Education Center is actually completely grant funded. The district provides the space and then the affiliation that's needed to apply for funding through the Illinois Community College Board. That grant, the competitive grant for adult education programming, closes this Friday, May 3rd. So we have been instructed not to put in for that funding. But one thing I don't think the public does realize that we also have a federally funded job training program as well as the state grant that works on youth and economic development. So we are essentially giving back or losing approximately $420,000 that is dedicated to wraparound services, job training, paid internships, and additional support services for an underserved population in our community.
And also along the lines, you know, you've talked about students that have graduated and are getting ready to graduate, and we haven't talked about the students that are there and where are they going to go to finish the education they've received already. And like you said, some of the kids won't be able to go to the Lincoln Land because of the age requirements. But my understanding is that they're gonna there's other avenues that the school district's gonna come up with. But again, when the youth need these avenues more than ever, it doesn't make sense to close things. But appreciate you being here.
Yes,
Thank
you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Gregory.
Yes, thank you for coming in, and, you know, this is certainly a gut punch, another one, to our community, and, you know, near and far. I say that, and, you know, often people think I'm just talking about Ward 2, but, you know, just for people who need a chance and taking a chance and really working, and, you know, even if you made mistakes in life, hell, I enjoyed my time, there, and it's crazy because I just, a month ago, I talked to Alderman Carlson, and we were planning on a trip because it was at the mall. I'm not particularly happy it's at the mall, but it was there. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's sad. I don't know how, a decision like that can be made, for a community like ours. But I agree with you. We must find ways to, pick up the slack and do all we can to keep that type of mission going. And, I'm committed to that. And, I look at my older sister, Jennifer, and I think about another building in her ward. I was hoping that, maybe someday they'll come back to that old building there, and just a lot to consider, with that. So thank you for this news. We'll certainly be reaching out to all of our representatives, but I don't know. This sucks.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Carlson.
Yeah, no, you're right. At a minimum, I think we're all going to reach out to our school board members. But Larry said something about, are there going to be additional plans? I mean, where are these students going to go? What's coming down the road, or can you answer that?
That I do not know. That is way above my pay grade. I'm just here more so to, share what we were doing at Lawrence and the gap that will now need to be hopefully picked up by the rest of the community. I'm more than happy to meet with anyone to provide additional details or possible solutions. Like I said, we have a lot of staff that's still committed to helping these students. Even though we'll no longer fall on the payroll, we are committed to tutoring over the summer, helping fund tests. There's a lot that went into Lawrence Education Center and providing the services to remove barriers for student success and getting that secondary completion, which is a big hindrance to earning a livable wage and jobs.
And I think you were here last year. Maybe you gave us maybe a small little heads up on what could be happening.
Yes, and that was actually a new grant that we got in partnership with the city through cannabis tax dollars through the state of Illinois through ICEJA. So we are very grateful, and unfortunately won't be able to continue that work.
And I feel like Sean and everybody else. I mean, for me, in a previous life, I probably was there 10, 11, 12 straight years with our county clerk. We were registering voters. We were talking about voting and civic pride and civic involvement. So I really saw on a yearly basis how fruitful it was and the students that were there. So yeah, I for one am going to call my school board member and see what we can do.
And then for any of those of you who can make it, our graduation is May 31st. If you've never attended a Lawrence Education Center graduation, it's truly remarkable. But aside from that, the school board, the next meeting is next Monday, May 6th. Unfortunately, that will be after that grant closes, but like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. So even if it isn't under the umbrella of District 186, I hope to continue these services in our community.
Anything further, Alderman Carlson?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Cynthia Wilson.
Once, going twice. Madam Clerk.
All right. Tamika Seymour.
Evening.
My name is Tamika Seymour. I live in Ward 3. I'm not going to say my address, but I'm very disappointed in the government system as well as the police system. Now, when I was Reginald Witherspoon, you know what I'm saying, I had a lot of respect. I'm going to talk about the past. Reginald Witherspoon was not me, period. I don't even know how I got the name Witherspoon, because the paperwork y'all see, y'all will understand. I was born with no first name, no middle name, but a last name. My last name was Seymour. I understand that my mother was illiterate and my father was illiterate. I've been gay all my life, and I had to live with the situation that I'm going through. When I was wretched, I was angry, suicidal, as well as love to fight and put people in the hospital. When I came to be Tamika and living in my truth, I promised the police department that I would put my gloves up, and I did. I really did put them up. Normally, I love to fight, and every time I fight, I blacks out, and I hurt people. My intention, no, that don't happen. Now, since I'm being Tamika, I'm being targeted again. When I was young, I was sexually harassed with women as well as men. By me walking the street, the women is grabbing my private part. Why? When a woman calls the police, she's protected. She goes to jail for sexual assault. But when a gay community be grabbed in private parts, it's a slap in our face. They don't lock them up. They don't sit up there and press charges on them. They sit up there, talk to them, and tell us to go about out. The last 2 years since I've been out, I've been threatened with a knife, been threatened with a gun, been threatened all together. When I'm Tamika, I cannot fight at all. I've been going through psychiatrists. I've been in and out the hospitals because of this issue. And I'm not going to say just me. I'm going to say for the trans, all of the gay community. We should be labeled to be able to come out of our house, go shopping, go have fun, and relating. Now to the point is, I cannot even come out of my house. They tell me, you cannot come out the house. Go home, stay in your house, live in a rock. We already have to deal with our parents. Some trans, our parents don't talk to us. Some community love us. And we is literally tired. I'm tired of coming out of my house being mental threatened. I'm not the only one that being threatened. It's the gay community. We should have the right for the same laws that women and men have. But right now, we is not. And I need this to be addressed. This is a city problem as well as a police problem. We should have the same rights that cover. Please help the trans community.
Thank you very much for coming this evening. I encourage you to not only speak with the chief, I know you have, but if you could, Mr. Posey might be able to provide some assistance. These are very serious issues, and thank you for bringing them to our attention this evening. Madam Clerk?
Brian Adams. Ariana Jordan.
Ma'am, if you could identify yourself at the podium, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
My name's Ariana Jordan, and I'm the owner of Real Time Ready Captions. I was your captioning provider for the past 5 years, up until April 18th, when I received an email saying that my services would no longer be needed effective immediately, because, and I wasn't told this, but through investigation, I found out that the city has decided to go with Cablecast Generative AI, which is also known as ASR, which is automatic speech recognition. I actually live in Collinsville, but I drove an hour here because I am going to be the voice for the people literally who do not have a voice. And I've been doing that for the past 20 years in my career. So, and that would be the deaf and the hard of hearing community. So without full access to the audio through captions, people who are deaf and hard of hearing can only get limited amounts of information from the city. Most importantly, the absence of quality captioning can significantly impact the ability of people who are deaf and hard of hearing to understand the public affairs and the city business to the same extent as the rest of the public. A CBS poll was just done in March 2024, showing that 50% of the population uses the captions. More younger people in the population are using captions, as well as the aging community who are hard of hearing, have hearing impairments. The need for captioning quality, hold on, back up. The Americans with Disabilities Act, known as the ADA, requires the state and local governments, businesses, and nonprofit organizations that serve the public to communicate effectively with people who have communication disabilities, including closed or real-time captioning services for deaf and hard of hearing people with a 99% accuracy. According to the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, compliance rules, requires that captions are accurately reflect what is in the program's audio track by matching the dialogue, music, and sounds, and identify the speakers and are delivered synchronously with the corresponding dialogue and other sounds at a speed that can be read by the viewers, are complete for the entire program, and do not obscure important information on the screen. Captions need to contain all words in the order spoken, without paraphrasing or substituting words for proper names and places, contain proper spelling, including appropriate homophones such as there and not there, and provide, as needed to understand the program, appropriate punctuation and capitalization to reflect natural linguistic breaks and the flow of the dialogue, the proper tense and the accurate representation of numbers, including currency, figures, and appropriate words and symbols. Accurate captions do not rewrite dialogue or use synonyms to replace actual dialogue because it fails to capture the broadcast content and nuances. To this end, were necessary to understand the program's content. Let me skip because I'm running out of time. To the untrained eye, ASR may seem good enough when testing its application in a quiet office with a single speaker. When you introduce environmental and other factors such as accents, female speakers, and multiple overlapping speakers in a group discussion, and audio distortion, the technology has yet to be proven comparable to a trained professional. Legal and moral obligations to consider with using generative AI transcription is that recent research and legal rulings also emphasize ASR's shortcomings and the concerns with using the technology, which include ASR cannot be relied upon due to have high rates of inaccuracy. There are even larger disparities in accuracy rates for women and minority speakers. Courts have agreed that generated AI auto captions do not provide equal access for videos. For example, the first sheet on the handout, you can see that when I send everybody an email, I don't know if you guys, it's hard to get everybody's email, but I don't know if you received it. I also, to the mayor I sent as well. But basically, I received an email back from the communications director saying that, and I will quote, after careful consideration and thorough evaluation of our requirements, we have decided to move forward with the transition to cablecast closed captioning for our future projects. This decision aligns with our evolving needs and strategic objectives for enhancing accessibility service across our platforms. Please understand that this decision was not made lightly, and it does not diminish the excellent service you have provided. We truly value our partnership with Real-Time Ready Captions and the positive impact it has on our community. Cablecast doesn't offer closed captioning, it offers AI. It's not even described as closed captioning on their website. It's an add-on service. Cablecast didn't even have any captioning for years, provide anything. And I contend that by providing a service that is makes mistakes, as you've seen, and that is, you can't understand, there is no accessibility whatsoever. Just in tonight's...
Your time is up, and I've given you over a minute longer, but there is an alderman that has a question, so you may still get some more time at the podium. Alderman Rockford.
On this handout, is this, on the front page,
Of the cities, yes.
yeah, so is this what the,
That is
is what it picked up and what it put out?
Yes, it is on the, as of this morning. So even though I sent an email and said, this is what, in the first 4.5 minutes, I captioned that meeting myself, April 16th. For some reason, it was uploaded with this AI. That is what is on, and still, even after I pointed it out in my second email, which you guys can see, it's still on the city's channel. I can go through, I made a note of tonight, you guys can see. I mean, there's no way anybody who relies on captioning as their form of communication would ever be able to know or understand what's going on. There's no designation in speaker IDs, the punctuation is, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just not accessible. It doesn't create access for the community, and that's why I wanted to come here, because I really don't believe, I believe it was Alderman Hanauer who made the motion and you guys passed after the budget meeting, January 18th, for the $100,000 for AV. I don't believe that this is the city's intention for that money, and what's to be done, like to upgrade the system, was to get rid of the accurate closed captioning by certified stenographers to go with some AI software.
Ma'am, I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. The first I've heard, I'm sure many of us in this room have heard of the issue.
That's why I wanted to come.
And I know several of my colleagues have signed up, but if we could be succinct, since we've had a long evening. Alderman Carlson.
I will be succinct, Chairman. So I'm just reading through this quickly. So you have been under contracting with the city for the last 5 years doing this?
Yes, 5 years.
And that's a yearly renewal? You got to renew it every year? How's that work?
I'm considered a vendor.
Okay.
So there's no contract per se, but this budget season, I know that everybody's strapped for money. I said to the communications director, I'm really to negotiate. This would be it was a $10 per hour increase, but if the city can't afford it, let me know. And I heard nothing back regarding that, and the $10 increase was just implemented. But if it's a money thing, I understand that, but it's about the accessibility, and I don't think this is what the city wants to project to their community.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Gregory.
Real quickly, thank you, ma'am, for coming in. I just want to ask Corporation Counsel, I read in here where it says this type of Comcast AI, artificial intelligence, is in violation of federal laws and regulations. Can you look into that and circulate that to the council, please?
I'll look into that and discuss that with council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gregory. Ma'am, thank you for coming, because
Thank
the
you.
American with Disabilities Act is extremely important. You're right. That is not the intention of, I venture to say, of anybody in this room. We want to be in compliance for so many reasons, and thank you for being here this evening.
Yeah, I feel like I know you all.
We'll also speak with our staff that's involved with this and see if we can get things resolved.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thanks for making the trip.
Coming in.
Madam Clerk, anybody else?
No, that's it.
Okay, there is a need this evening. I know you're all excited about this, for an executive session. The chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session per 5 ILCS 120/2C11 regarding litigation, and 5 ILCS 120/2C23 operation of a municipal utility.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. We will stand in recess until we return from executive session. when I was like, then, I mean, that's when they're ready to play the league. You know what I'm saying? So, it's sad they're gonna shut that ball down, and then on top of that, they just, you know what I'm saying? And it worked out well. All. That's one last year. the clerk. Tony, we're almost ready. Madam Clerk, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to reconvene?
So moved.
Okay, the session is reconvened. Is there any further business to come before the Committee of the Whole this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. There's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. We're adjourned. Everybody have a nice evening.
All right.